Welcome to Rebecca Sounds Reveille. I have an expert guest with me today who's been on this show before, and I absolutely love to have him because his information is valuable. And with a valuable expert guest, we know that the information is going to be things that you can use. And not only is it going to be things that you can use, it's going to be something that can be applied, well, today. And as you know, I always want to give you tools and resources that are going to help make your life not only better, but it's going to move you forward in a direction that really launches your life in a successful movement. And that success is whatever you define as successful. With me today, my guest is the co-owner of Key Advisors Group, LLC. He also has a book out, The Common Sense Bull. And this is the keys to a good life before and during retirement. Why do we want to talk about retirement? Oftentimes, I've got to tell you, early in life, we don't project that life is going to come to a peak sooner what we think it's going to. Life, the days seem so long and arduous. When we wake up in the morning, we think the day seems to go on forever. And yet, when we turn around, a week has gone by or a month has gone by. And then oftentimes we look back and the decades have gone by. And I can tell you for me, that has happened way too quick, especially when I turn around and 30 years have gone by. And that was when I realized that's when I had went to boot camp. That was a long time ago. With me, my guest has been a managing partner of Key Advisors. And well, I've got to tell you, he has graduated from the New York College of Pennsylvania with a degree in economics and finance. He has had a very successful career in financial planning, and this is really important because you really need to know finances to understand really planning about your retirement. He started this group in 2000 with a business partner, and he has really been able to obtain something that is very prestigious. I will tell you, it's MDRT, the Court of Round Table, and Top of the Round Table honors each year. Why is this important? We can let him tell us a little bit about this because maybe we won't understand it to the degree we should, and why this is important when it comes to letting somebody handle our finances. And he is a specialist in money management. Again, he's been on the show before, and so without any further ado, Eddie Ghabour, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
I am absolutely excited. Tell us a little bit about, first, how you started specializing in money management.
So I got into business in 1998, right before the tech bubble burst of 2000, which we all probably remember if we were investing then. And when I got into the business, some of the mentors that I had told me that within the first 6 to 12 months, you will gravitate to something that you love, whether it's insurance-based planning, estate planning, or money management. I've always been intrigued with the stock market ever since I took finance class in college. And so I fell in love with it very early on in my career and have been very blessed to have a successful career and a fantastic business partner that took a big risk on me 20 years ago to allow me to be a full partner when we first opened up in 2000. And the rest is history. I mean, I get a true enjoyment at this point in time in my career is when I can help people. Whether I'm able to take them on as a client or not doesn't matter. I try to do everything I can to put them in a position to succeed. Because what I've learned over the years is finance comes very easy to me. However, I find that most people don't understand it. And it took me a while to realize that, it doesn't matter if they're a surgeon or, a landscaper. It doesn't matter what their background is. Most people are intimidated by finance and really don't truly understand it at all. And it comes easy to me. So I love that. And I love being able to share that knowledge with people and helping them. And most importantly, watching them hit their goals is probably the most gratifying thing that I get to see on a daily basis in my job.
You are pretty much nailing something that is so true. Many of us are intimidated by that, and I don't know why that is, but we are. And oftentimes we go into our first, second, or third employer and we sit down and HR comes to us. The human resource people say, okay, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to talk to you about your retirement plan. Do you want to go and invest in 401k, 403b? And all of a sudden you're just going, okay, well, what? Okay, sure. And oh, okay, you match the funds, okay. And you're kind of sitting there at that point just saying, yeah, okay, that sounds great. And after that, not sure what else to do. And really not even understanding what that means to you and how the market affects that. And then you hear from your colleagues who might, maybe one or two that might understand it, that if the market crashes and you've lost some money in your retirement, that you don't have that anymore, and that you should have maybe taken some different angles to ensure that you have funds at a later time. So it's really important to take a few minutes to talk to someone like you to ensure that you have money in the event, one, of an emergency, and two, down the road, because there's going to be times in life that you do need to have some funds available.
You're exactly right. And most people, one of the biggest values that a good investment advisor will do are two main things. Number one is risk management. Most people have no idea what the risk of their portfolio is until you have a market crash, and then it's too late to make any adjustments. So number one, in my opinion, risk management. I talk about that in my book, The Common Sense Bull. And secondly, is someone to hold you accountable. Because as a human being, if you don't have anybody holding you accountable, and we all do it in lots of different aspects of our life, it's very easy to procrastinate. And what we find is most people do not spend any time at all reviewing their personal finance until something bad happens. And by then, it's too late. You have somebody holding you accountable every 3 months to your goals, to helping you achieve success. You're going to succeed more than someone who's not holding you accountable. It's no different than a professional athlete that has a personal trainer helping them get to a different level. So I'm a big believer in it. I've had coaches my entire life since I got into the business. And without them, I know I would not be where I am today. And that's how I look at myself. I am a coach for my clients, trying to help them levels they wouldn't be able to get to if they were the only ones holding themselves accountable.
You just said something. Woo! Okay, the bells and whistles are going off. This is huge because this is more frequent than going to the dentist, and it shouldn't be as scary as going to the dentist. So you go get a cleaning to ensure that your teeth are going to last you as it should be a lifetime, right?
Yes, hopefully.
And that's, you only go, and this is for prevention. So let's think of finances in terms of prevention, because you need to protect your assets. And we do this twice a year, every 6 months. And you're saying go quarterly. And let's think about this too, because if you have even a small business, you are supposed to, with the IRS, report your taxes quarterly. That's every 3 months. So think of yourself as a small business, or in terms of just your own asset and prevention, so that you can have a lifetime of protection for yourself. And like you said, the personal trainer, you're protecting your assets, you're having a good, healthy lifestyle, and that is talking to your advisor every 3 months. I would have never thought about talking to my advisor every 3 months.
It's, think about it. It's 4 hours a year out of your life. Most people probably spend that much time planning their summer vacation or a trip to Disney. It's not really a lot of time when you think about it, but it allows you every 3 months to spend 1 hour to an hour and a half with your team to just focus on you and your family. So that way, one day you can achieve that financial independence and do all the things on your bucket list that you weren't able to do during your working years. And the only way you're going to get there is not by accident, is by having a clearly defined plan and someone that cares enough about you that's going to hold you accountable to those plans and goals and make adjustments as things change in your life and in the economy.
Well, this is important because you said adjustments, and that really makes things achievable, because if you have what are called SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely, if something does happen, you can adjust accordingly, and it's not going to become this catastrophic issue. You can make these things where they become realistically achievable. And life does have events that happen. There are situations that unfortunately have become so commonplace, such as in California, where there are fires that happen more common now than ever before, and people are being affected by them. And that's happening where financially that's becoming an issue. So that's just one example. So we're talking about, environmental things that happen, and then there's life things that happen. But I want to ask you a question. So you are an author of a book, The Common Sense Bull. What does bull mean? And so for those who don't,
I've always been a glass half full kind of guy. So, and common sense bull means I always feel like there's opportunity no matter what seems to be collapsing around us, no matter what's happening in the economy. I always feel like there's opportunity for people. Okay. And it doesn't always have to be related to the stock market. It could be business opportunities, could be all kinds, educational opportunities. And so the common sense bull is, number one, as I got that nickname because I've been very bullish on the markets over the last few years when a lot of people were doubting me, and knock on wood, so far we've been pretty correct in some of the projections that we've made. But using that word common sense means don't overthink things. I think one reason why people get so intimidated is in finance, some people can really overcomplicate it. And I kind of stick to that saying of keep it simple. And so I try to tell people, look, these are nothing that I've invented. These are just common sense principles that if you stick to them, you're going to be successful. Financial independence is not hard at all. The hard part is taking the time and putting a common sense approach and plan in place. That's the hard part. If you follow through that plan, then you should be successful. And everyone's definition of success is different based on what their goals are. So common sense bull means, look, you can't always be so bullish that you take so much risk that you can lose everything. But at the same time, if you're so scared that you don't do anything at all, you're not going to achieve success either. Find that happy medium and don't be too extreme.
So this is really good to know, just to not overthink something. And I think you're right when it comes to that. Sometimes we do what if things to death, where it can become so fearful we don't end up reacting or taking an action in anything. And that can cause an issue as well. Do you talk about retirement or where to start with retirement in your book?
We do. And, it starts, and again, this sounds basic, but again, these are common principles that have been in place forever. And it starts with just really putting a plan on paper. Now, understand this, that plan is going to change, but you have to start somewhere. Okay. And when you start with that plan, as things change, whether it's a family, kids, health issue, retirement, when you're reviewing that plan every quarter, you're able to make adjustments and recognize shortfalls sooner than if you wait 5 or 6 years, because by then it's too late, in my opinion, that the damage may be so deep that you can't recover from it. Mm-hmm. So start the plan, focus on fundamentals. Look, don't let a headline news article scare you and sell all of your investments because one day some bad news came out. Always put your blinders on and focus on yourself and your goals, not what's on Yahoo Finance, not what Eddie Ghabour is saying on the stock market for this given day. Because one day in the market, whether it's good or bad, should not impact your overall plan if it's a good plan.
So does planning then involve putting money in a number of different areas, or does it mean that I'm looking at taking what I have and investing in just what is just one area that is right for what I'm looking to do? How does that work?
So there's really two phases to the investment cycle. There's one that I call the accumulation phase. The accumulation phase is when someone's nowhere near retirement and they're just getting started out. And for them, many times like a Roth IRA may be a great option for them because it can get some tax-free growth. And it's just a matter of starting. And then as you build that, you want to build other types of accounts. So that way you diversify your tax status of your strategy as well too. Because taxes are something that investors don't focus on, in my opinion. But if you think about it, retirees, their two biggest expenses most of the time are taxes and healthcare. So
Okay.
on tax planning is crucial, especially when you get to retirement. So the accumulation phase is when you're trying to get to retirement. And then when you're retired and you have this lump sum that you've saved over 30 plus years, now you need to start focusing on the distribution phase. That means how you're going to spend it. How's it going to be taxed? How are you going to protect it? Completely different, almost opposite investment strategies. And again, one mistake I see, and we talk about this in the book, is people keep the same strategy in their distribution phase as they do in the accumulation phase. And I think that's a big mistake. That's my opinion anyway.
Okay, so there's something completely different that happens once you retire when it comes to money.
It's the complete opposite of what you've done your whole life. And that's the hard thing. So I like to study the psychology.
Oh, that's
And
that's interesting.
so the brain is a muscle, right? And you train that muscle over so many years. And when you're working, you're like save, accumulate, don't spend. When you retire, you're not saving, you're not accumulating, you're spending. And no matter what anyone's net worth is, their number one fear is running out of money because that brain has been trained to think about, don't touch this account. It's for my future. And now you're completely changing what you've been trained to do for 40 years. And it's
Right.
a difficult thing for someone psychologically to change like that. Again, because we're human beings, we create habits.
That's really interesting because we don't really think that the life cycle is going to get to where we are as quick as it happens. And then we wake up and the change happens. I also wonder how the Social Security or the retirement age factor hits in comparison to the financial planning aspect and how those things kind of mesh together. Are you able to kind of guide somebody when it comes to that, or does that play in? Is it something to be concerned about?
Absolutely. I mean, we do a lot of social security planning with clients because one of the biggest decisions is, when do I start taking it? Do I take it early? Do I take it later? Do I take it during the mid-cycle of when I'm able to take it? And sometimes what we'll do is we'll try to generate enough income from their portfolio to bridge that gap to allow their Social Security to accumulate. Because each year
Okay.
your Social Security increases by approximately 8%. So if you can bridge that gap and say, wait 4 more years, that's a 30+% increase in guaranteed income on your Social Security side. And then you look at the tax aspect of that too and how that works. So that's the distribution phase of planning, and that's where we spend a tremendous amount of time on.
That's really interesting because I'm sure that there's a lot of questions like, is Social Security taxed? And what do I do about this? And am I allowed to make money or while I'm on Social Security? I'm sure that there's a ton of questions that people have in relation to all of these things. And between the information that you provide in your book and the strategies that you have in person, you're really able to give somebody very well-rounded options, and they really need to get in contact with you so that you can give them a personal strategy session and guide them with the way that they can achieve success, the way that they themselves define it.
Yeah, because here's another misconception is don't assume what your neighbor's doing is going to work for you. What my
Mhm.
point is, especially on Social Security planning, right? Everyone will say, well, when should I take it? If I don't know anything about you, I can't advise you on that because that answer is going to be different for everybody because everybody's situation is different. And that's why your strategy should be customized to your situation, not to what you heard or read about someone else's situation.
That makes a lot of sense. I've heard a lot of different things, good things, things that haven't been so good, things about where a family has thought that they were going to be able to sell a house, and then it turns out that due to medical things that have happened, they couldn't get the house. And I think that the best thing, based on what you just said, and individual circumstances and all of the things surrounding that, if someone is talking to their financial advisor every 3 months, and if they have a family member that is at a certain age, that the family is involved with that financial advisor, there is no way that there's any surprises that are going to happen. And people can make really educated decisions about how their individual finances are going to be addressed. And if a family member is going to be involved, they can make appropriate strategies on how to handle or help a family member in these types of situations. And so I'm really excited that you know all of these things, because oftentimes this isn't something that people know can be addressed and talked about. And oftentimes, even when we do talk to a financial advisor, we forget that this is something that is on the table and needs to be talked about.
Yeah, and that's why when you are sitting with someone, I always say you want someone that's going to look at the total picture, not just your investments, not just your income. Holistically, look at everything. Because at the end of the day, it's my humble opinion that it's impossible to give someone's advice, or good advice, I should say, if you don't know the entire picture. Because there can be a lot of unintended consequences if you give somebody some advice on income or what they should do with their portfolio if you don't know the total picture of their family situation.
And you're a family man, Eddie.
Yes, I am. That's my number one priority. My wife and my two boys that I love dearly, and I try to stay very involved with them. I coach football, baseball. It's one of my true passions. It's awesome. A little plug for my football team. My son's Pop Warner team won the conference championship here in Delaware, and for the first time in a long time, their Pop Warner team here locally won. So they were super, super excited about that. And hopefully those young athletes will remember that for the rest of their life.
Congratulations on that. Do you guys ever sell any of the, what is it, world's finest chocolate bars?
No, we do not.
Well, darn. I was going to put a plug in that if the team was selling anything, that if there's anybody that's listening, to come in and buy some off of your desk, because I got to tell you, when I was young and I was peddling those, I did really well. And not only that, but I loved them. I might have been my
Yes.
best buying customer, as a matter of But absolutely would encourage anybody that if you are selling anything, to let me know. I'll put a plug in for that, because I'm always in support of teams that are trying to raise funds for sports activities, for any type of youth activities, musical activities, and things like that. And the fact that you are a team player for family oriented activities, sports activities, and not only that, but you're a team player for those of us in life that are trying to succeed. I'm really, really in support of that as well. And that's why I love to have you on the show, because you really are genuine with what you're doing and active. I appreciate that so much.
Well, thank you. I love being on your show. You have good energy, and I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to have you back. And I want you to make sure, I'm going to let you do this because this is your passion. I could do it, but this is your passion. I want to ensure that you share the title of your book, where they can get it, the name of your company, and where they can find you, because I want my audience to connect with you and to make sure that they get a copy of all of this information and connect with you genuinely, because you're the guy.
So you can find my book on Amazon. It's The Common Sense Bull. My company is Key Advisors Group LLC, and you can check us out on keyadvisorsgroupllc.com. And you can also follow me on Twitter, and my Twitter handle is at Common Sense Bull.
Thank you so much, Eddie. I'm excited. There's so many things that you have going, and I'm supportive every bit of it.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in to another episode of Rebecca Sounds Reveille. I definitely want you to get a copy of Eddie's book because there is information in there that you need to know. And I will tell you wholeheartedly that if you have not already had an opportunity to connect with Eddie on this, you need to do it because I know firsthand all of the information that he is giving you is accurate. I have known him for a while now. He's an expert guest here. He's genuine, and the information that you need to know from start to finish in life is there. He is knowledgeable, and I will tell you now from start to finish in my life, there's things that I wish I would have known, and there's information that he's given time and time again that I've went, well, he's right on that one. And that is a plus. So connect with him, get a copy of his book. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you share this episode with your friends, your family, everybody on social media, those of your colleagues that you know, and everybody that you don't. Thanks for tuning in. Like and share.